Next question is from Check the Fox author. Check is asking, I have a question today about planned data model rework. I know you talked about it in the main system in past episodes, but from my understanding, the data model rework will include more than just that. What else is included in that? Data model operations are by far the heaviest operation when creating content in Resonite. I'm curious if that can be mitigated and improved with a planned rework. So there's like multiple parts to it. I actually do recommend checking out the GitHub issue because like that one kind of goes over the details quite a bit. But in short, one of the things is like, reduced overhead, reducing a lot of the data storage, making things like, be more cache friendly, reducing storing explicitly some data that can be stored only like, temporarily. That will help reduce a lot of the overhead, and it's also going to introduce a concept of continuously changing drives, because when you consider the data model it monitors when things change, so it can replicate them over network, and it can invoke changed events. The problem with that is even something say like the IK, say the fingers, every single field of those is changing every single frame, and the system is monitoring all of that, and it's triggering events for every single one all the time, which it makes things work, but it's not as efficient when some things will be changing every single frame. So one of the things that the data model rework is going to do is going to be able to tell a drive that the drive is going to be able to say, whatever I'm targeting, I'll be changing it every frame, or almost nearly every frame. So don't even bother monitoring it. Skip all the monitoring, just assume it's changed every frame. That way, it's going to tie into, those systems that send events, and they don't need to be propagating and managing all the changes. They will just say, this is changing every single frame. If there's any listener, I'm just going to invoke it. I don't need to keep tracking and keeping a list of these things. And that's going to help for a lot of the continuous stuff, IK, which is modifying a lot of stuff because it's changing all the bones, all the fingers, dynamic bones. Those, whenever they write into the data model, those writes are heavy because that triggers all that, monitoring stuff. But the data model rework, it doesn't need to do that. It writes the value and that's it. It's skips a lot of the complexity. So that's pretty much going to be one of the major optimizations. So those are the two main things for doing that. The other parts are making it a little bit more dynamic too. So we can support stuff like domains and so on. That's gonna help as well. It's gonna open up some new features. But for performance, the reduced overhead is one side, and the ability to say something's changing continuously, that's gonna be another. And also, actually, I'm going to mention one thing is also protoflags already has the system, because when I made protoflags, I knew I was going to do this kind of a change for this kind of pattern for the rework data model. So protoflags, it actually has change tracking through its own, and it knows when something changes on occasionally, and it knows when something changes continually, and if it changes continually, it skips all the tracking for the, random changes.